But Jesus, he treated these intersections differently, almost like they were God-ordained appointments. So I got this speeding ticket, and when I went to renew my license, I had to take a written test. So here I am studying this book for the first time in a long time, and I realized something. In the book, tons of the rules of the road revolve around intersections. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's easy to drive a car straight down the road by yourself, but intersections create a whole new challenge. When you come to an intersection, people are stopping and starting, and so there's red lights and yellow lights and green lights, and there's right turns on red, and there's left-hand turn lanes and left-hand arrows. It's difficult to negotiate an intersection. And intersections don't just happen on the road, they happen all the time in life. You're at the grocery store, you're pushing your full cart down the aisle. You come to the end of the aisle, and all of a sudden you're face to face with somebody else with their full cart. Who has the right of way? Who's supposed to go first? Which way should I go? But it goes beyond just physical objects coming together. Intersections involve people. And in every one of those intersections, we have a choice to make. Either we engage or we ignore it and try to walk away and get away as fast as we can. You know, you're in the grocery store, for instance, and there's somebody that you haven't seen for a while. Now you have a decision to make. Do I go talk to them, or do I just move on with my life? Or you're leaving the grocery store, and there's the guy with the cardboard sign, the homeless guy, saying he needs money for food, and you're just trying to look any other way to get away from that connection. And this happens to us in countless settings: coffee shops, sports events with our kids, work. And usually we treat them like inconveniences, like these kind of interruptions in our day. They're kind of annoying. But Jesus, he treated these intersections differently. And he paid really close attention to them, almost like they were God-ordained appointments. In John chapter 9 we read, as he went along, I love that line. That's one of my favorite lines about Jesus. As he went along, he's always going along. He's always on the road. He's always out there. He's never sitting in a church building. He's not really sitting in some office. He's going along. And as he goes, he meets people and connects with people. Like he's going along and a funeral goes by and he stops and raises the kid from the dead. Or he's going along and 10 lepers show up and he sends them off to be healed. Or he's going along and some prostitute starts washing his feet with her hair. So go back to the verse. As he went along, he met a man who had been blind from birth. Now, tons of people met this guy. They went by him every day. They ignored him. They walked by him. They tried not to look at him. Jesus stopped. Jesus noticed. Jesus decided to get involved. And Jesus healed the man. People ask me all the time, how do you have all these experiences? You know, these people you run across, these crazy stories you tell, and all this stuff that happens to you. I never have those experiences. I think you do. I think we all do. I think most of us miss them. I don't know, over the years, God has made me more sensitive to these things. It made me realize it may be something that he's up to in those intersections in my life. And so I started to pay attention. When Jesus said, follow me, I think this is what he meant. Not just reading your Bible or going to church. It's as he went along, as he went along, as we go along. You know, like we run into people, intersect with their lives. What if we actually noticed them and stopped and got involved, at least some of the time? Maybe God would do amazing things through those intersections. Some people, they get up in the morning and they pray for these intersections. They actually ask God to bring people across their paths who they can tangibly love with the love of Christ. Like my wife's cousin, Julia. Her and her husband were having a really difficult time economically, and their car was broken down and they had no money to fix it. She was talking about this out loud at work one day, and a lady overheard her and came over and said, hey, Julia, you can have my car. And Julia's like, oh, that's really nice. You know, if I ever need to borrow your car, I'll make sure to get in touch with you. No, Julia, you can have my car. God told me a few days ago that the first person I ran into who needed my extra car, that I should give it to them. So I'm giving it to you. And before the end of the workday was over, the title had been signed over, and she drove off with this amazing car. This was no ordinary car. This was like a red convertible sports car. And when she drove off, the lady made sure to say, hey, Julia, if you need to sell this car and just take the money and get a really practical family car, that'd be great. This lady prayed for God to give her an intersection. God delivered, and when he did, she stepped right into it and acted just like Jesus would. So, who will you intersect with this week? Will you walk right by, or will you engage? As you go along, will you act like Jesus?